What's up? How's it going? Good to be here. Good evening, everybody. Good to see you. Man, how's it going? You are in the lab. I'm your host, Joshua Diaz. Good to be here. Good to see you. Just trying to see what's going on, man. See what's going on. I guess we know what sells. There's never been a secret. It's not really a secret. It's just if we're willing to or not. There's a reason why Days of Our Lives is so popular. There's a reason why it's interesting because I'm looking for some clarity. I'm looking for some resemblance of what was. I'm looking for the words that escape me. Yeah. You know, this weekend, this last week, this weekend, I felt like there was some very, in my opinion, and just some very significant movements in Summer's case. And to me, it feels like, okay, something could break here. Something's going to happen. Something has to happen. Something, the Summer Wells case has become its own miniature economy. I mean, I've seen it, with other things before. But like, we don't know Summer. I don't know her personally. I don't know anything about other than what I've heard secondhand. But this has, I don't know. I'm at a loss in a lot of ways, and I'm not at a loss in a lot of ways, and I'm not surprised in a lot of ways. And lest anybody forget, there's a 5, soon to be 6-year-old little girl who's been missing for over 6 months. And we're wasting time, energy, effort, focus. We're losing a lot by the second. And I'm not saying it doesn't make for good TV, because it does. I mean, look, we all know what sells. We all know what sells. I know what sells. I do. I mean, I know. I get it. It's not foreign to me. The f- I feel as though we've made significant progress, but yet we don't want to talk about that. We don't want to talk about it, because when this is all over and this case is hopefully solved or goes cold, and whatever happens, whatever happens here, like the shenanigans and the measuring of people's egos, and I wonder. And look, I'm not going to criticize. I don't want to. I'm not going to criticize anybody that went out anywhere. But like, why can't why can't we organize a search, like a real one with vests and I mean, that's really what needs to happen. I don't know where to start looking, but all this time that we waste, and I guess it is wasted time. I think it's like we should we should be looking or putting our energy into something a little more, useful. I don't know what the answer is. I just know that we need one. I don't know what the answer is. I'm lost and I'm confused, and I'm somewhat frustrated with myself, because I usually know what to do. I usually know what to say. I usually know how to react. But tonight I don't know how. You know, I don't know. I don't know. This last whole week, it's been terrifying. Bro, if I go missing, I don't want YouTube searching for me. Not if it's like this. It's like, how do we search? Well, let's go and find somebody's arrest record. Oh, of the family? No, of like people online. Oh, how come? I don't know. Why not? Let's do it. You don't want to like look into the family? Nah. Nah, let's take a look at somebody's. I want to see how many months this person did for this, that. Oh, you don't want to see who, like, what pedos in the area? No. What do you want to do? I want to run a background check on this person. Somebody in the family? No. Nah, this person, said some, this person dogged me out online. Online. Like it's a real thing. Like it's a real shot to one's ego. It's weird, man. It's weird. Like the one thing that I have a major problem with, and it's my problem, nobody else's. I can't stand the fake shit. I can't stand that fucking top row of veneers. I cannot stand that. I'm a lot of things. But like if I don't like you, you're going to know it. You have the right to know it. Bro, I'm confused. Bonnie G, thank you. Welcome. I'm confused. Yeah. I'm really super confused. It's like, dude, if I don't like you, I don't like you. I'm not going to play nice either. I'm just not going to do it. I'm not wasting my time with that shit anymore. I told you that. That was my thing. Like that's my thing now. But I've never seen in my life a group of adults fight constantly around the clock. And then all of a sudden it breaks off into little groups. And these people used to hate each other, but now they're best friends. These people used to hate each other, but now they're best friends. Save me that shit. Save it. It's weird. It's like it doesn't make any sense. Oh, but it does actually. Summer is a miniature economy. She's a miniature economy. Her name alone. Her name alone has sparked controversy with thousands upon thousands of dollars. Thousands and thousands of dollars, if not close to 100,000 or more. It's a 5-year-old little girl, a mistreated 5-year-old little girl who's been mistreated in while she was when we knew where she was, and she's being mistreated now. And we don't know where she is, and she's being mistreated by strangers. Because we don't I don't I don't know where, like, what else are we supposed to do? What are we supposed to do now? Like, where do we go from right here, from this very moment in time forward? What is there to do? And I don't know what the answer to that is, but I'm all for figuring it out. I'm for figuring it out, come up with the answer. Yeah, I don't know what the answer is, where we go from here. Is there anywhere to go? And I feel like obviously every week there's a new this, there's a new that, there's some new character shows up, there's some new, I don't know, there's something. This case attracts the craziest humans I've ever seen in my life, and I've seen some crazy people. I don't know what's happening. But we all know what sells. Sure we do. We all know it. What sells. What's more fun to listen to? Talking about becoming a better you, or that your neighbor's wife slept with the garbage man? Garbage man is a, I'm not saying it's a bad profession. I'm just saying gossip. What do we like more than looking at ourselves and taking inventory? We like to look at others and take their inventory. We like to take other people's inventory for them when nobody's even asking. Right? That's how we do it. I don't get it. We like loud people. We like, ah. Who are these people? And I'm not talking about anybody specific, and I'm not talking about anybody specific that um that anybody's had on their show, or I'm not talking specific, you know, you could, this is not a silent shot at Doug and his guests that were on panel, or Ziggy and the people that are on her panel right now screaming and hollering, or Molly, Tiffany, AB. This is not a shot at anybody specific. What I'm saying is my head is twisted from this. Because it just doesn't make much earthly sense to me. Oh, dude, thank you so much. Glad you're here. I've never seen anything like it either. Well, not exactly like this. As you kind of fairly know, I mean, I'm not now. I mean, I'm still fairly fairly new to this YouTube media, YouTube medium, and I think that I'm starting to understand it. But when I started doing lives, I had no idea that any of these other people existed. You know, I blindly walked into the lion's den with no intention of ever. I didn't know that this kind of thing existed. I didn't know that these kind of communities existed the way that they did. I had no clue. I just made short little films on YouTube. That was it. That's all I ever did. That's all I ever did. That's all I ever wanted to do. And along the way, I've made some really cool friends, and I've done some really fun shows, and I've met some really brilliant people, and done a lot of fun stuff, really. And that's all I wanted. That's all I ever want to do is I don't even know, like I don't even know how I ended up here. Like I'm trying to figure it out. I have no clue. Like my whole idea for my channel was this is how my channel was supposed to work, and it doesn't obviously work this way, but this is how it's supposed to work. I was supposed to do videos once a week, like little short mini documentaries, like 40 minutes long, 45 minutes long, premiere them, and then talk about them afterwards once a week. And then have what essentially was called a wrap up show. And so what I would do was I would premiere this video, and then after take questions and talk about that specific case and what it was like to make that film. Yeah, right. That was what I was supposed to do. And that was always the goal, and the thought process. And somehow, some way, through either divine intervention, a trip and a fall, a stumble, a broken toe, and a hobble, I ended up right here with you. I ended up right here with you. Yeah, that was some time ago, Beverly. I remember those days. And like I said, sometimes somehow what I would do is I started streaming like interviews with criminals and stuff, and then kind of talking about them, but nobody really watched. Sometimes we'd get like 6 or 7 people, 9 people. 12 was a big night, and then we'd 3, 2. There was sometimes I was talking to maybe one person that kept coming in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. Uh, that's how that started. so what I would do was, so that was my whole thing. And then I always said, like, if my channel ever got big, because I came over from such a different community. Like I came over from well, I was never in the YouTube community. I was I was a podcaster. What I did was I podcast. That was it. About anything, just everything. Just with my friends. We would just get together and podcast, and somehow, some way that podcast took off, and voila, opened up a whole bunch of different avenues for me. So I started doing YouTube interviews with people about certain stuff. I did that. And one day I just so happened to be perusing the internet, and I found the interview with Dawn and Candace 2 weeks after Summer had went missing. I've seen lots of interviews with parents whose children go missing. I've seen a lot. I've seen that before. They're always interesting because you want to get a thought of the parents. And I was like watching, and I was watching Dawn talk about how Summer, he believed that Summer was dead. And I just remember thinking, what kind of a father says that? Well, I was like, what kind of a father says that? Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So I would say, oh my God, like, I can't believe. And then as soon as I saw that interview, I went, why, like, what kind of a father would say that? And instantly, by no influence of anybody, but at this time, my quote unquote YouTube career was taking off somewhat fast. I went from 600 subs to I don't know, 10,000, 13,000, pretty fast. I mean, it was decently fast. And I had no interest in like this case. I didn't even know about Summer Wells. I had no clue about the case. I had to get caught up. I had to get caught up on everything. And so then I started watching interviews with Dawn, going, dude, this is weird. And then McDonough, I watched his interviews. Um I was a fan. I'd never heard of Chris McDonough until I got to YouTube and saw his interview. The first interview that I saw was, I think it was with Hunter H, sorry. And I thought, oh wow, this is kind of cool. Like it was cool. Like I like this channel. Um, Fast forward to today, uh, I consider Chris a friend, and I love his work. And I'm trying to think, and this was all before I even ever met Doug. And I met met Doug. I so I was watching AB's show one night, and I had been on AB's show a couple times, and I didn't know Doug existed either. So then so I went from AB said, "Oh, AB would send people over to my show when he was done, and people would just come in and go, "Oh, AB sent me, AB sent me." I didn't even know who AB was, and I was like, "Oh man, I'm super thankful for that." I had no idea who AB was, so then I go watch AB show. People say, "Oh, you and AB should do stuff together. You and AB are so much alike. You're this." Okay, so cool, right? So I go watch AB. I go on AB's a couple times. That was fun. I had a good time. Always a pleasure. Always did me right. We were cool. And so one night I was in the chat and he says, "Oh, Lab, aren't you live?" I said, "No." And then he says, "Oh, well, I'll send everybody over to No Thanks." And I'm like, I go over there and I see this. I go there and I see Doug. Uh and it was the night. What was that night when Doug blacked out, I think, arguing with Benny. And I had already had some interaction with Benny. I met Benny was one of the first people on YouTube that I had met. And so I went over and I was watching and I see this charismatic, like he could keep up with the flow. He was arguing with two different people and I found it interesting and funny because he was just slaughtering these two people. Like it was one of the funniest things. Um, I mean, it was because we all know, but there seemed to be genuine dislike because I disliked this same guy, and I'm watching this guy that I've never talked to before literally dismantle. I just tearing him apart. And I thought it was funny. It was hilarious. I said, I might like to. I was like, I want to do a show with that guy because he's funny. He's intense. He's quick. He's quick witted. And I like that. I was fascinated. Plus I hated Benny. So that was fun too. We had that in common, And so but I didn't know that he covered the Summer Wells case either. I showed up on a night that he was mooning the camera. I had no idea. And then you fast forward and you have the shares and the I think I met Tiffany through being on AB show a couple times with her and him, and we always had a good time. We always have. And things get fractured along the way, and I said, I'm just going to keep my head down. I'll just keep my head down and watch. Well, that only works for a certain amount of time because you start getting dragged into drug into things that you really have no intention of being a part of, which is fine. But I started with Summer. Like I started with Summer. That's how I started these live streams. Summer. and I did it, for 3 months. I wasn't monetized on my other channel, but I just did the live streams because I really enjoyed talking about this case and other things about it. And it was nice. It was good. It wasn't nice, because of the subject matter wasn't nice ever. And then I remember the hoax, the prank that was pulled on Mary. And the worm really started to turn that day. That's the day the worm really started. Beverly. So I did a short film about the Chris Watts case. And then I talked about it, but Chris Watts had long been done and over with in the community. I was in the true crime community. Nobody was talking about Chris Watts anymore, but I did. And so I remember the prank, and that's when I started going. And I remember I felt genuinely bad for Tiffany Marie and whoever else, got duped, Mary as well. And they said, well, Dawn's been, I remember that whole day was like, people were like looking up, they found this old arrest record from like 1987, not them, but just people on the internet from like 1987, and going, hey, Dawn is being transported to, I can't remember, it was some Boston or somewhere. I had no idea. It made no sense. So then, yeah, they say, well, he's got to go to Boston. I'm going, Boston? And I remember once, we found out that it was a hoax. I remember going, I hate these people. Not the YouTubers, but Dawn and Candace. When I say hate, I don't know if disgusted, like I'm not some overly moral human, but I was disgusted. It was sick. It was sickening. It was one of the worst things I've ever seen anybody do. How, what was the point of that? I could not believe that parents of a missing kid would have the energy to do something like that. I had no clue. I went, my God, we're never going to find this girl. Never. We're never going to find this girl. Not with people like that in charge of the information. And I'm sitting there looking at these poor people who have been duped. The internet has been duped because people actually care about this girl, but apparently not the parents who were making a mockery because they're mad or something. And I was like, there's no hope. And from that point on, it got worse and worse. It got crazier and crazier, and I was sucked in because I was hoping, oh, maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day we'll find her, maybe the next day. People, I want this to end. But you can be sure that there are people out there that do not want this to end. I want it. I want whoever's responsible held accountable to whatever happened or for whatever happened. That's it. I don't want to. What else is there to talk about? I just want it to end. I want it to be over. But then again, I feel though is if I just stop talking about Summer, I'm abandoning something that I've been overly invested in. I don't even know the girl. But I want it to end. Like it's like at some point it's got to stop, right? At some point it's got to stop, and we'll move on. I don't know if we will, and I don't know if I will, but people will move on. Guys, I don't know anything about the Orrin and Orson case. I don't know anything about Barry Morphew. I don't know anything about who else. I don't know anything about any other cases really. Like very little, because that's not what that's not what was my thing. But as I got more involved in this, and then I started like looking at this at the Orrin and Orson or Classic and Sincere case, then that's when I started reading about it and going. A lot of the times, to be honest with you, I would hear those stories and kind of just pass right over them because I had become like where I'm from, and like the struggle of in my life that I've been through, I have become desensitized to a lot of situations. I hear a lot of things, and while I don't necessarily just brush them off like, oh, that stuff happens every day, sometimes I kind of do. I at least would, I'd go acknowledge that's awful. Life happens. We all have our burdens to bear. You could read stories forever and ever and ever about missing children. This was never something I intended to do. And sometimes, and please don't take this the wrong way, because it's not meant to be in the wrong way. But sometimes I wish I never got involved. I wish I'd have never heard about it sometimes. Caring about other people's children more than they care about them in a child that I don't even know doesn't seem healthy. Like it just never it doesn't seem healthy because there's nothing I can do. That's the thing. I can't do anything, and I'm not gonna stand up here and pretend like or sit up here and pretend like I can do something amazing. I can't. There's nothing that I can do. And but there will be other people who will give you hope and false hope and tell you that they can do this or they can do that, but they can't do anything either. Nobody can do anything except the people who know where she is. So don't let these people lie to you and tell you that they're doing these noble things. They can't do shit for Summer. Nobody can do shit for her unless it's the people who killed her and hit her body. Nobody can do anything for her. So don't fucking sit up here and pretend that you can, because you can't. I don't care who you are. The only people that can do anything for her are the people that know exactly what happened to her. Can't do anything. And you know it. And I know it because I can't do anything either. Because if there was something that could be done, I'd be the one to do it. But there's nothing that can be done. Nothing. Nothing. And we pretend like we can. Well, I'm not pretending because I can't. I can't do anything for her. What can I do? I didn't do anything to her. I don't know where she is. If somebody told me tomorrow that we could go search and we all need to get out to Tennessee and they need as many volunteers as possible, I'd do it. But I wouldn't even know where to start because there's people that obviously don't want us to find her. There's nothing that we can do. We can sit up here and bitch about people and this and that. So like, you know, people just like the people just are lying. Like they're just lying. It's just it's the phoniness that really gets me. Cuz you know, You know you can't do anything. What are you going to do? The only thing that can be done is to just keep her name alive. Dedicate airtime to talking about Summer. But we're not even doing that anymore. We're not even doing that anymore. Dude. It's like, what are we doing? I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. I don't even have the like I wrote a funky weird letter to a child I don't even know about, and it spread across this community like wildfire. And I feel like it that's not even half, that's not even a quarter of the frustration that I feel. So it wasn't even a like a, I tried to put it I tried to put it into real words, and it was as about as it was funny because the file that on the original got corrupted and I didn't even care, and people just kept asking, please, can you fix it, can you this and that, and I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. Can we play it at her vigil? And like I was like, yeah, sure. I was honored that they wanted to do that. And I was honored for all the channels that played it. But at first I was just like, well, I didn't really care that much. I wasn't really impressed with the letter or until I put it all together and watched it. And I watched it, and I watched it, and then I kept thinking, I like I was Summer. I just survived against the you know we're kind of in the same club. And then I would think about her brothers and how that, like, I was thinking about them today, and that they don't have their mom and dad, and this will be their first Christmas without them and their sister. They don't have anybody. I know that they're safe and all that, but I know what it's like to like end up in a strange place. And like that's where they are. They're I don't know, like think about that. And like I get it, like the stories you hear that they were rambunctious, rowdy kids, but look at who was raising them. This was the only chance that they had. They were and they, you know, they didn't deserve that. They didn't deserve it. They don't deserve this. Yeah, and I get like yeah, I get it's a good thing, but do you think that they do you think that they realize that? Yeah, maybe now maybe they're starting to realize it, but you don't think that they miss their parents? You don't think that they miss their friends? If you think that they realize 100% that they're out of a situation that they should have been out of, you're sadly mistaken. Why wouldn't they miss their parents? What other people do they know? Children can be so mistreated by their parents over and over and abused and neglected, and yet the our inner child just wants their acceptance and their love, and that goes on for your entire life. It goes on. It goes on their entire life. You People search for their parents that gave them up for adoption 30, 40 years later, and they want to be loved. That is their mother and father. I used to think like, oh, if my dad was a part of my life, he'd be so proud. But then I go, why do I care though? I don't know why I cared. I would think my dad would be so proud of my boys. Dad, what do I care? I had to tell myself that like 6 or 7 times. What do I care? I don't know. I did. I shouldn't have. And then this is their first Christmas. This is their first Christmas without their sister, without their parents, their grandma. It's just a fucking mess. It's a mess. Oh, and wait till they discover YouTube if they haven't already. I remember when I saw my father's arrest record for the very first time after he was in jail. I was an adult, and it was shocking. Absolutely shocking. And I go, that was my dad. I would think that that's my dad. Like that, like I share DNA with that guy, which was weird. It bothered me because you don't think that like that was his only skeleton. I mean, it was rough. So then I go back and I go through this box of stuff one day, and it's it's the transcript from the very first counseling session that me and my sister ever went to, um, before or right after my mother was killed. And I'm flipping through the pages, and I don't remember a lot of this stuff, but a lot of it I do. But I'm flipping through these pages, and I remember thinking it's just a really random thought, and I may have shared this before, but this lady, my counselor, her name was Diane Green, and she's passed away, but she was an angel. She was just I actually looked forward to going to see her from such a very young age, um, and she just always made me feel super comfortable, and um, she was just the best. And she had this dog. His name was Bear, and he was just like this big fluffy thing. He was just precious. And um, the so anyway, I'm looking over this report, and I remember saying, I said, she asked me if I was scared, and I remember at the time I said no, and she says, well, what are you thinking? Tell me what you're thinking. And I was just kind of looking around the room. I remember looking at my sister. God, I don't know. I was young too. And I said, my dad says that he loves my mom, but he killed her. My dad says that he loves me. Does that mean he's going to kill me too? And I had no idea what I was saying. But I didn't even really understand what that meant. Like, it took me a long time to realize that my mom had died, like that she wasn't coming back. And it was crazy. Like, should a little boy, like, I'm not that little boy anymore, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not that little boy. But should a little boy have to feel that way? Should those kids have to feel that way? I know what it feels like. Like, I knew it. I know what it feels like. Um I would talk about wanting to that doesn't matter. It's not about me. It's not really about me. It's about, these, like, like I said, I'm not a kid anymore. I'm grown up. And I'm blessed to be one. I never meant to end up here. I never meant to. And to be honest with you, sometimes I wish I didn't. I just want it to be over. When will it be over? It's just it's not. Yeah. Huh. Oh. Sorry about that. I know it will be over someday for all of us. It's never going to be over for those boys. It's never going to be over for Summer's life. It's just what? It's just what? Like it's just gone in the wind. That's what it seems like. The thing about it is that like um it's so hard to protect the weak and vulnerable, like children and animals and old people, because that's what we as a society are supposed to do, not just the parents. We're supposed to try to keep kids safe. And sometimes we can't even, I mean, we you can't even keep our own lives together. It's a shame that these poor kids. I don't know. I don't have anything else to say. Thank you for watching. Thank you.